Happy beautiful day, Pete Cohen here with another YouTube video called How Jim Rohn Changed My Life. 7 steps to success. Now, if you're the sort of person who's a little stuck, who feels there's a gap between where you are and where you want to be, perhaps you're lacking some motivation or some discipline, what I'm about to share with you, I believe will really help you. Who was Jim Rohn? Well, he was an entrepreneur, he was an author, he was a speaker, he was a role model and a mentor and a coach to many people. Now, the power of coaching is pretty obvious. A coach is someone who helps you go from where you are to where you want to be. In fact, the word coach comes from a coach and horses. And Jim Rohn was very well known for being the coach and mentor to another very well-known coach. You might have heard of him. His name is Tony Robbins. Mr. Robbins is probably the most well-known person in the world today in the field of personal and professional development. Success always leaves clues, and Jim Rohn lived between 1930 and 2009, and much of his wisdom is still with us today. So what I'm going to share with you is 7 core things, 7 key things that if you apply these to your life, they will be steps that will take you from where you are to where you want to be. One of the things I say is a great life, it doesn't happen by chance, it happens by design, and that was stimulated by something that Jim Rohn actually said. So let's start off with step number 1. You can't change your destination, but you can change your direction. So what does that actually mean? Well, I think sometimes people wake up and think they want to change everything immediately. We do live in a world today where everything can be brought to us, and many people are not that inclined to take the necessary steps. But with a bit of perseverance and with a change of direction. Another thing that he said is the same wind blows us all. We all face the same challenges, but it's the setting of the sail that is the direction. Once you know where you're going and you're inspired to go and get there, chances are you'll keep going even when that wind blows us all. The winds of problems, the winds of stress, the winds of doubt, the winds of fear. But with a direction that you're fired up about, you will keep moving forwards. Step number 2, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments. I don't know about you, but I always had negative associations to that word, discipline. Well, if you actually look at what the word really means, it comes from a French word, to décider, to make the decision to cut yourself off from all other eventualities. When you have the discipline, you do what needs to be done regardless of actually how you feel. And if you look at anyone who's been successful, you'll see that they had the daily discipline that over time brought about amazing results. You and I both know that we live in a world today where there's so much distraction that it's very easy to start something, but your discipline go out of the window even before you know it. In fact, the word discipline also comes from the word disciple. And again, a lot of people have a negative connotation to that word, but to be a disciple of someone is to be a student of someone who has more wisdom than you. If you're the smartest person in the room, get out of that room and go and find the smart people. Now, even though Jim Rohn is no longer alive, his wisdom and his teachings are available for everyone. And this is someone who's really inspired me to inspire you. Let's have a look at number 3. Step number 3, success is doing ordinary things extraordinary well. Now, what does that actually mean? There is no real mathematical equation to what success really is. It is really doing very simple things over an extended period of time. I spoke about this on another video, that if I said to you, hey, look, I will give you £5 million in cash right now, or I'll give you 1 penny a day and I'll double it every day for a month. Which one would you want? Now, most people would immediately go, well, just give me the 5 million. But if I gave you the penny and I doubled it every day, even after 15 days, you wouldn't have very much. But after 31 days, make sure you say, Pete, can we make it a 31-day month? You'd have close to 11 million. Now, what that means is if we keep doing what we need to do in the areas of our life that we want to have more success in, regardless of how we feel, the results are incredible. But you and I both know that often we don't feel like doing the ordinary things because of the distraction, because of the lack of discipline, because we don't have that destination in mind. We often give up. Really important to understand that doing ordinary things all the time lead to extraordinary things. It's what we call doing the mundane leads to the sublime. So if we look at the next step, is motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. I love this word, motivation. That word comes from the Latin motive. It's what's moving you. It's what is getting you started. And yeah, we all need motivation, but you want to have the motivation to help you install the habits. It was Aristotle that said excellence is not an act. Excellence is a habit. We are what we repeatedly do. And I love what Jim Rohn talks about install those habits so that all of a sudden you are becoming more of the person that you know that you're capable of becoming. The next one, life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. And I want to thank Mr. Jim Rohn, because one of the things that I say a lot is a great life, it doesn't happen by chance. It happens by design. It happens by change. It happens by choosing to change. Now, what I'd love you to do for a moment is think about all of the people in the world right now who don't feel like doing something, or they just feel entitled and they think that the change should happen for them. And because they don't feel like doing something, what do you think happens? We've never lived in a world where there's so many opportunities for us to create something, do something, but we've never lived in a world where we're so driven by how we feel. We have to learn to understand that if we want things to change, it's not going to happen by chance. It's going to happen by putting all of these things into place. And number 7, we must all suffer the same. It's either the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Now, what does that mean? Look, there's no question about it. Getting up early in the morning, doing some of the things that we know bring about success, whether that's keeping a journal or meditating or exercising or doing all of these things, doing what you need to do regardless of how you feel, there's some pain attached to that, just to get started. The hardest thing for most people to do is just get started. Once we get started, the inspiration that we wanted to feel to start, it comes. It's like our brain rewards us for when we exercise. We don't get that reward. We don't get that feeling just by sat there. We don't get there, but I wish I felt like it. And that's where you see so many people who one day in the future, they will have the pain of regret. And that is really, really heavy. But what I'd say to you is, look, it doesn't matter where you are. You always have a choice. You always have a chance to actually change your life. But changing your life definitely comes with hard work and dedication, having a destination that you want to go after, knowing that direction and putting these steps in place. When you look at Jim Rohn and you look at all of the lives around the world that he affected, he inspired so many people to look at things differently. And that's one of the things that he did to me. Many years ago, I'd studied psychology. I must admit, I found studying it quite boring. I didn't really learn too much. I learned what was wrong with people. And if you look at what's wrong with people, it's like opening up Pandora's box. And after finishing my studies, I was going on holiday and a friend of mine said to me, would you like to read a book when you're away? I went, yeah, of course. And he said, read this book. So he recommended a book to me by a guy called Zig Ziglar, which was called Over the Top. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. I read this book and I started reading about possibility. I started reading about when people changed their belief. I couldn't put the book down because I started to think about what was possible. I came back from my holiday, went into a bookshop. I said, have you got anything like this? And they recommended a book to me by a guy called Tony Robbins. And in the book, Tony Robbins talks about Jim Rohn being his mentor. So then I started looking at some of the things that Jim Rohn said, and this man has positively influenced my life in the 19 books that I've written and the speaking that I do all over the world, because we don't have to reinvent the wheel here. We don't. What we can do, well, I believe we must do, but it's much easier when we take the wisdom of people that have already achieved what we want. So let's take a moment. Let's just quickly recap. The first step, you can't change your destination, but you can change your direction. Discipline is the bridge between your goals and your accomplishments. Success is doing ordinary things extraordinary well, having the discipline to do the little things with an infectious enthusiasm. Motivation is what gets you started, but habit is what keeps you going. We need to focus on installing habits so those habits run on autopilot. Life doesn't get better by chance, it gets better by change. Doing a little bit of change every single day. And we must all suffer the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. So what is your biggest takeaway from what you've seen here? Look, my goal is quite simple. It's to inspire you to go from where you are to where you want to be. We know there's a gap between those two. And what most people do is they just settle. And when we settle, there's something eating away at us. We know we're not being who we're capable of being with our health and our energy and our relationships and our wealth and work. And the hardest thing to do is just get started. So just start right now. Take some action on the back of this. Go and watch another one of our YouTube videos in these series that we have put together specifically for you. And lastly, if you like what you see on this channel, please like, please comment, please subscribe, and please share. Thanks for watching, and thank you, Mr. Jim Rohn. You changed my life, and maybe through what I'm sharing with you, it might change yours. Take care, and happy, beautiful day.